Hi, my name is China and welcome to the extra part of gradients and learning how to blend. Often when we're drawing, sometimes we leave ourselves with a really hard edge, and that means the shade just stops there really suddenly, but often we need to make them a lot smoother. Sometimes it's really wide how smooth it goes, and sometimes it's really small. So what I'm about to show you is blending two different shades so that you can't tell where the edge started and where it stopped. This is super helpful, so you might need to practice it a few times, but keep persisting and you will get there, I promise. So let's see how to do it. So grab your nice clean ruler and draw two squares just below. It doesn't have to be attached to your gradient that you just did, but sometimes it can be a quite nice inspiration. So switch to your 2B pencil, may as well spice it up a little bit. And in one square, I want you to shade it nice and dark. It can be value 10, it can be value 6, whatever you want it to be, so long as it's in the darker range of shading. And I want you to get this nice and even. So that means that there's no differences in shade, whether you look at the top or you look at the bottom. It's just a nice even square. And then you're ready to shade the light side. So try and make this nice and light. It can be anything from 2 to 5, I would say. If you leave it white, then you do have the challenge of making your shade disappear, which is not so easy, as you might have learned. So, two different shades, one dark, one light, nice and even. So just to give you a bit of context on when this is used, if you imagine you're drawing something, you've drawn the outline and you've drawn the shapes of the shadows, this is what it is. We have a shadow on one bit and then we have the rest of the shading on the other. So what we're trying to do is decide what type of edge it is. Is it a long gradient? Is it a short gradient? And I want to make sure that I'm not making my dark any darker. Often we just shade on top of our dark bit right at the edge and then we create a super dark line, highlight the edge even more. So you just need to shade in the lighter section, and I'm shading right up to the edge and I'm pushing harder until I meet that value. So you see, as soon as I've met that value, I'll stop shading and I'll start to try and push that gradient into the light area. I'll try and shade it so it's going from dark to light still and you can't see the edge at all. So it is a bit tricky trying not to shade on top of the dark edge. You'll see it's a little bit on mine, so I'm just going to even that out on the right hand side. But very quickly you can see that that sharp edge, the hard edge, has disappeared. So this is a really good technique and I would advise you to try it a couple of times. Try and get your range quite wide, so really light and really dark, maybe a 2 and a 9, and then try and smaller that range. Smaller? Try and make that range smaller, so maybe you'll do a 4 next to a 6. Seeing if you can test yourself with blending these edges, get some nice wide boxes, get some skinny boxes, because there's so many different types of bloody edges out there. It's a lot. So give this a go. Hopefully it's a really helpful technique and we will be using this quite a lot in our future drawings. So practice. And next week we're going to be looking at mindful shading. So really fun and a great way to improve your pencil skills. I'll see you there, folks.